And welcome back to Uncover the Proven Strategies Used by the Wealthy. I'm Dan Tatuli, and today I have back with me Kevin Newber. Thank you very much for coming, Kevin.
Thanks for having me.
So we just ended off with Jordan Arias. We were talking a little bit about the characteristics of some of the wealth accumulation vehicles. We went over exactly what we wanted, 401ks, IRAs, annuities, mutual funds, all of those things that today we're going to be talking a little bit about the three types of ways to save and spend money.
Yeah, and this is really getting back to the fundamentals about the core things that we need to do in order to have more wealth when we're ready to retire. And without doing, and this is fundamental because without doing this basic approach, we're not going to have the ability to use a lot of the concepts we're going to be talking about in the later videos. So there's a couple key things that we're going to be talking about here. One of these things is going to be how to use something called leverage and how to use collateralization in order to build more wealth. These are two things that we talked about before. And how we're going to use these, I'm going to tell you a story about three different ways that we can save and spend money.
All right, sounds good.
All right, so what I'm going to use on this example is I'm going to use an example of somebody who is going to go buy a car. I think we all can relate to going out and purchasing a car. And many people, what they do is they buy a car, either they go into debt or they pay cash, and as soon as they're done, then they buy a new one. So let's say that somebody has no money right here. So this is a zero line. This means that you have no money whatsoever. And you wanted to buy a car, but you didn't have any money. How would you make that purchase?
You would borrow that money, take out a loan.
Exactly. So you're going to go into debt to make that purchase. So this person is going to be something we call a borrower. The person is going to borrow to make a purchase. What's going to happen is they're going to borrow, and at that point they're now in debt, meaning they have less money than zero. Mm-hmm. And what's going to happen is over a period of time, they're going to pay off the lender. So over a 5-year period, they're going to pay off the lender. And now the person's going to be back at that same line where they have zero money. Now, in order to make this purchase, they're going to have to do something. They have to pay interest to the lender. And let's assume here that they're paying 6% for the right to borrow that money. Well, we all know that this probably is not the most efficient way to make a purchase. And the reason is right here, is because we're paying an interest rate to a financial institution for the right for that money. So this is an expense. This is an explicit cost that we're incurring in order to make a purchase. So knowing that this is probably not the best way to do it and to avoid having to spend this money, what do you think would be a better alternative that most people think of?
Yeah, I'm sure for most of the viewers at home would be to save up the money that you need and then spend it so that you don't have any debt.
Yeah, exactly. So the smarter person understands the plight of the person who's going into debt and paying interest. So what they say is well, I have a smarter way of doing this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save the money. So what they're going to do is they're going to save up this money. So they're not going to be able to make the purchase right away because they first have to save. So they're going to save up their money. And as soon as they have enough money to make the purchase, then what's going to happen is they're going to drain the tank. They're going to deplete the account. But here's the most important part, is that now they're at the exact same zero line as the person who went into debt. Who has more money after this purchase happens?
Yeah, they both have the same, and that's
They both have the same amount of money, which is nothing. Now, this person might have earned an interest rate in order between these 2 points, and this person paid an interest rate. But here's the really important thing, is that if a person paid 6% to borrow the money, and somebody earned 6% and then drained the tank and lost the ability to earn 6% on that money for the rest of their life, the cost to them, these two people, are exactly the same. One person paid interest to a lender. The other person lost the ability to earn interest on that money for the rest of their life.
Wow.
The net cost over time is identical. So it's no better to save and then spend.
So what's this third way?
There is a better way to do this, and there is a best way. And this is where we bring in the idea of collateralization and using leverage. This person, this is the wealth builder, this is the smarter person, and this is really what we want to do when we're saving and spending money. This person, he understands that you don't want to pay interest, you don't want to lose the ability to earn interest by depleting an account. So how can we combine these two ideas into one in order to have more money in the end? So what this person does is he saves the money just like the saver. And at this point, when he's ready to make the purchase, he's not going to actually drain the tank. What he's going to use is he's going to use collateralization. So he's going to post this value in his account as collateral. He's going to go to a financial institution and say, I would like to borrow money from you, and I am going to get a favorable loan on more favorable terms and just use my account as collateral. What happens is he collateralizes the tank, and when he pays the financial institution off, he's going to end up being at a higher point than he was before he made that purchase, because he never actually physically drained this tank.
Because the money that they're borrowing is from the financial institutions. So
Yeah.
the money that they have in the account, it could be growing.
Exactly.
Much like that every year.
And that's the key point, is that the account is still growing. He's not draining the tank, it keeps growing. So after a couple transactions, here's where the person that goes into debt is, and the saver. The wealth builder is all the way up here, and you can see how big of a difference this is going to have over time.
Yeah.
Where when you look at these three different scenarios, we have the person going into debt, the person saving, and then the wealth builder up here, who's going to have substantially more money in the end. And all we're doing is just changing the way that they're saving and spending money.
So would you say even if you have the money to spend on that car or whatever the purchase may be, there's a smarter way around it than just
Absolutely.
depleting your tank?
Exactly, and that's through this idea of using collateralization and leverage to help become a wealth builder. And what I want to do next, I want to give you an example of some real numbers here. So to use some real numbers, and I'm going to use this example again of buying a car. Let's say that you're going to buy a car, and you're going to save the money first before you make the purchase. So let's say you're going to buy a $30,000 car.
Okay.
And you have the ability to save $6,000 per year. You're going to do that for 5 years so that you have $30,000 in the end.
Yeah.
And you're going to earn a 7% interest rate on that money.
Okay. Now, where'd this 7% come?
7% is just a hypothetical number, and you'll see in the end it doesn't matter what number we use, whether it's 2, 3, 5, or 10. In the end, you're going to be better off regardless of the rate of return that you're going to earn.
Okay.
And we're going to drain the tank 6 times, so this means we're going to buy a car 6 different times. And you're going to see the difference between these 2 different methods, and you're going to see here that the person who saves and depletes the account, every time they make the purchase, they're just getting right back down to that zero line so that they just have no money. The person that uses collateralization and leverage, this is what happens. We're using a technique here that's called uninterrupted compounding, which means that we're never interrupting the compound interest effect that somebody's going to have on an account. Albert Einstein called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. And so by depleting the tank and draining the tank, we're interrupting that 8th wonder of the world in the form of compound interest. Now the difference between these two is substantial. One person has nothing, and the other person has $600,000. And really what this means is, just by using these ideas, and you're going to have $600,000 more wealth when you retire. And here's the most important part, is we're not asking you to spend any more money than you're currently spending. We're just asking you to change the way that you're doing something and become more efficient on how you save and buy things.
This is great stuff, Kevin. So let's recap.
Sure. So to recap, we have 3 different types of ways that we can spend money. First, we can go into debt. That's the worst way. The somewhat smarter way is to save, but in the end, when you spend the money, you're back at where you were. And then the smart way, which is going to be the wealth builder. All of this use something called collateralization and leverage in order to have uninterrupted compounding and create more wealth. Again, all of this is about efficiency, and it's also about how to maximize the amount of money you have in retirement without spending any more money.
Got it. So, well, thank you very much, Kevin. This has been great information. And right now, this has been a little bit more of a conceptual thinking. That the next video, actually, we've asked our advanced wealth designer. He's going to come on board and actually walk you through the whole entire case scenario that he had, that he worked with an individual and he was actually able to help them and their family. And this is where I'm actually going to take a step back. Jordan Arias is going to come back because they're the experts. I don't want to take their time by any means. They know what they're talking about. So we're going to have them two talk it out there. And thank you very much, Kevin.
You're welcome.